I am Dr. Osorio at work. My first name is Carolina. I am originally from Colombia. I did my med school there and then I moved to the United States. I did my residency here and then I went to UCLA for a fellowship in geriatrics. I am the director for the geriatric intensive outpatient program, which is named Wisdom. And I'm also the co-director for ECT services. I am, of course, an assistant professor, so I do a lot of teaching. I'm in charge of the geri didactics here. I also do a lecture on culture and psychiatry. I'm a member for the bioethics committee. I'm a member for the supportive tumor board, so where we have the most complicated cases of cancer. I think it's very important as a psychiatrist to explore the spiritual, the faith, the religion background of each of our patients, because there's a lot of data that shows that when someone has a healthy religious background or a spiritual background, it's actually a protective factor. Even if we don't understand their religion or their spiritual background, we can always ask questions. Do you have a rabbi, or do you have a priest, or do you have a pastor? And if they do, we always want to encourage them to go and reach out to their communities regardless of what that background may be. I was working with this elderly man. He was having early stages of Alzheimer's. And he would get very angry with his wife and he will react very aggressively. And this is a man who has always been loving and caring. He thought that he was not going to go to heaven because he was having these behaviors and these reactions towards the wife. I actually did a lot of psychotherapy with him. All what we did is talked about forgiveness and how through the Bible you could see different times where God and Jesus forgave individuals no matter what they have done. And at some point he actually turned the corner and he felt much more comfortable understanding that this was an illness and not himself, and that God will love him because of who he is and not because of the illness that he had. There are cases where you have to stand back because maybe the person doesn't trust you. Maybe you don't really understand their faith. I remember I had a patient who was Hindu and I really didn't know much about this person's background. And so I actually shared openly with her and I told her, you know, I don't know much about your faith. And I asked her to share more about it and details. And that way she saw that I was open and I didn't have an agenda, but more so I really wanted to work with her. And I met her where she was. So I think the most important thing about religion and culture is always meet your patients where they are. We in Loma Linda, we have a collaborative center for the World Health Organization. One of the things that we do is we go into communities in third world countries, specifically the Caribbean and South America, and we train their leaders in a very low intensity psychological intervention. So those leaders can go into their communities and help the people there to overcome anxiety or depression because of the high levels of adversity. Most recently, I was sitting in one of the ethics committee and they brought up, there is this yearly conference on religion and medicine. And so I remember when I was a resident, I did a presentation on suicide in the Bible. So now I am really looking forward to hopefully put a little presentation or workshop with some other people for 2023 conference on this religion and medicine. It is very important to understand that culture, religion, spirituality, all of those things are incredibly important. I practice psychiatry always based on each individual's faith and each individual's background from the cultural perspective.